What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now in today's video, this is another video to kind of spark conversation amongst the ESBC community. Like many of the discussion based videos I've made, sometimes I just get something in mind and I'm like, you know what, I want to hear the thoughts of everyone else. So maybe it's one of those things where I think maybe if I get the general consensus of the community, I can somehow relay it, or the devs can get an understanding of the community as a whole, instead of just like one or two angry messages on Discord, or just like, you know, random messages here or there on the Discord or on Twitter. I feel like, you know, I get to see people's thoughts and see if, you know, people completely disagree, completely agree, or kind of neutral with my points or my opinions in general. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes of the video, in my opinion, for games like this, there are three-ish types of players with these games if you kind of generalize. Now, that's just my thoughts. You may disagree, but the three kind of players that I think are the 90% online guys. This is someone that plays online all the time, is Division 20, maybe tries the career mode once, maybe uses the AI to test out new fighters, but mostly they jump on the game, they go straight into rank, straight to online, and they play it for the general life of the game. Guy number two is the 90% offline guy. This is someone that maybe touches the online once in a while to play with a friend or just give it a go. But other than that, they tend to be mainly in the career mode, mainly watching AI versus AI, making tournaments. And those are the guys that just like to stick to themselves, test the meat of the game, and use every single fighter. As opposed to the online guy who won't use, well, most online people won't, unless you're like Marshall or Prioxis who make videos testing literally everyone. Most online players won't use the lowest ranked fighters that there is. Whereas the offline guy, you know, he'll use everyone, he'll see everyone, he'll do tournaments with everyone, career modes, he'll experience everyone and everything the game has to offer outside of the online. Of 50-50 guys, those are the ones that play a bit of online. You know, they're probably like between Division 8 and 14, and they've played a couple of career modes, they like to play the online, they like to mess about. That's kind of me, you know, I like to play a bit of online, I like to play a lot of career mode, I like to do a lot of tournament stuff, but I like to play with my friends, I like to give online a little test. But, you know, that's kind of my consensus that I get for a general idea of what I get for three basic players, which would be an online guy, an offline guy, and a 50-50 split guy. I think that kind of makes sense. Now, the reason I want to bring that part up is because I want you guys to kind of have a think which player maybe you are for when answering this question. You guys can imagine I get a ton of comments on the game saying that the game needs Floyd Mayweather. Now, I don't believe there's any one fighter that the game needs or will, quotation marks, make the game. I feel like people say that as just something to say. I sometimes feel like people enter the videos, they watch something, and they're like, what can I say? And they just put, we need Floyd or I'm not getting it. We need Floyd or it's not a boxing game. Now, I don't believe there's a single fighter that this game needs to make it a boxing game. And if I'm honest, Floyd wouldn't even be near the top for me. The game has over 200 fighters. And not to mention, you know, from pound for pound greats like Usyk, Josh Taylor and Canelo Alvarez to legends like Jack Johnson and Jack Dempsey and Rocky Marciano. But the game is still missing, if you will, the likes of Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Manny Pacquiao, Nairo Inoue, Triple G, Errol Spence, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns, and so many more of people's favourites. So for me, Floyd just isn't near the top. Now, of course, one thing we know is Floyd won't be cheap and he won't do it for free. Now, another thing, I don't know much about the gaming business world. I don't know what it goes into for budgets, things like that. So this is off the assumption that Floyd would take up a lot of the budget, a lot of the time, and a lot of the resources. So my question to you guys is, this is where I want you guys to decide what player you are. You player 1, 2, or 3 in this kind of, you know, thought process. My question to you guys is, would you rather Floyd Mayweather in ESBC spread across his weight classes from, you know, young Floyd, where he was pretty boy, where he, you know, was a bit of a brawler and had a bit of snap to his punches and, you know, a bit of damage, all the way to prime Floyd, all the way to old man Floyd, where he was, you know, pretty boy, money, you know, very, you know, 49-0 level, you know, 29-0 level, 15-0 level? Would you rather him spread across all his weight class, all the weights he won titles in, or would you rather they use these resources that we've got, as obviously all of this is just per se for argument's sake, let's just say we've got these resources and Floyd took a chunk of them, or would you rather say, actually, you know what, I don't want Floyd, I'd prefer the likes of Triple G, Manny Pacquiao, Nairo Inoue, the rest of the four kings being, obviously because we have Sugar Ray Leonard already, so obviously the likes of Duran, Hagler and Hearns, which would then flush out weight classes and roster. You just wouldn't have this one fighter that people consider the best. Now, I think, yeah, Floyd is great, but I wouldn't put him at the top of my pound-for-pound list in boxing. I think there's been greater boxers before, and there's greater boxers right now. And that's just my opinion. I like Floyd a lot. I've met the guy, and, you know, he's an awesome dude. He's a fantastic boxer. But for me, he wouldn't be near... And I think a lot of people that watch a lot of boxing would agree, people that have watched old boxing and watch it now. I think people that have just got into it that saw Floyd retire at the top after beating Conor, they tend to think he's near the top. But most people would even put Manny Pacquiao above him. Someone who has lost to Floyd, people would put Manny above Floyd without question, really. Or maybe, instead of these two things that I mentioned, Floyd takes all the resources, no. Fighters like Triple G, Nui, Manny, the four kings, no. Or would you rather a bunch of prospects, 1-0 fighters, 5-0 fighters, people like Alan Babbage, he's a well-known prospect, for example, you know, 1-0 fighters like, you know, who have just come off Olympic golds, that are just made their pro debuts? Would you write, you know, amateurs that are, you know, 3-time Golden Glove winning amateurs, to maybe flush out the career mode a bit more? But then the thing for that is those online players, if you will, those aren't really going to use those 1-0 guys. You know, some will, like I said, the likes of Praxis, he's for sure going to make videos like Hidden Gem Found. It'll be like a 1-0 amateur, and he'll for sure slap the shit out of people with these young prospects or these older fighters or these low-rated fighters, because that's just what he does. Same with Marshall. But I'm generally curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Now, for me, I'd say if I had to I wouldn't even characterize myself in any of the three that I mentioned, if I'm honest. I'm like 70%. If my 30% online is mainly with friends and just doing crazy shit, my 70% is tournaments, challenges, career modes, things like that. I'm definitely more of an offline guy. So for me, I would rather the middle option, which was the likes of Nui, Triple G, the rest of the four kings, you know, Manny Pacquiao, things like that, as opposed to just one Floyd Mayweather. Bunch of amateurs. I think the amateurs would be awesome, and it would definitely flush out that earlier career. But obviously, there's still some superstars that I definitely love. But if I'm honest, out of these three choices, if you guys had to decide, if you had to decide what player you are, online guy number 1, offline guy number 2, or 50-50 guy number 3, now what would you rather? Would you rather Floyd to spread across his weight classes, some superstars we're missing like Manny, Triple G, and the four kings, or, you know, 25 odd prospects to flush out the likes of the career? For me, I think it would have to go the superstars, the prospects, and then Floyd. Like, you know, yeah, Floyd would be awesome, and I'd love to see a realistic version of him in ESBC. I think it'd be absolutely incredible. You know, his movement, his Philly shell, that shoulder roll where this straight comes out and hits you straight on the top of the forehead as you're coming in. I think some of his punch selection is phenomenal, and I'd love to see it. But for me, the way I play, it's not someone that's on the top of my list. You guys let me know, you know, is he your number 1 fight that you want more than anyone in the world in this game? Then fair enough, you'll completely disagree with me. It won't matter what play style you are. You could be both, you could be 1, 2, or 3, it won't matter, but you'll always want Floyd. But if Floyd is not your favourite fighter, if there's fighters over him that you would prefer, if you're just not that bothered, if you're like, you know what, I don't care about who's in it, but if I had to choose, I would choose option whatever. But let me know in the comments down below. I'd definitely like to hear it, because there's a lot of people that say, we need Floyd. I don't believe the game needs any fighter. I think if they release it now with no DLC ever, would still be quite happy. 200 odd fighters, some of which we still don't know. But if we get Floyd, of course, I will be ecstatic. I'll be mind blown. But it's not something that like I would choose over, you know, choose over the likes of these fighters that I listed, as well as the prospects. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. That's what these videos are about. You know, it seems to be that a lot of people are kind of getting that, but there's always that small percentage that don't quite understand that these are to provoke discussion and for me to talk to you guys and you guys to talk back to me. This isn't like me telling you guys that you're wrong and I'm right. I think people sometimes think that because I make the videos, my opinion is concrete and you guys don't get a say. These are to get you know, opinions. I made a video about the pay to win thing. Someone wrote this huge paragraph and pretty much nullified 3 or 4 of the things I said, and I was like, you know what, you're completely right, brother. You know, that's fair enough. You know, you've found better solutions than what I could have thought of, and that's why I make them, because I think it's so much fun to hear that, you know, because I'm just one person. When I get the opinions of 1 to 6,000 people saying, actually, I think this would do better. You guys are, you know, someone's definitely going to pick up different chunks, and I take chunks from different comments and almost get the perfect idea in a sense. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to you guys about this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.